Hello all, welcome to the session on Basic SQL Queries. Structured Query Language. Structured Query Language is a database language designed for creating and maintaining the database. What can SQL do? SQL can create a new databases, it can create new tables in a database, it can retrieve data from a database, it can insert records in a database, it can update records in a database, and it can delete record from a database. Next, we'll look into some of the data types of SQL. So these all are the data types of SQL. Int data type. This int data type is used to store the integer data. This is the range of int data type. Second data type is big int. It is used to store a very large integer data. So this is the range of big int data type. Third type is tiny int. It is used to store very small integer data. So the range of tiny int is -128 to 127. Fourth integer data type is small int. It is used to store small integer data. The range of small int is -32,768 to 32,767. The next data type is char. It is used to store a fixed length characters. The range of char is 0 to 255. The next data type is varchar. It is used to store variable length characters. The range of varchar is 0 to 255. The next data type is date. It is used to store the date, that is year, month, and date. So in SQL, we need to follow this format, this date format, that is first year and then month and then date, in order to store in a database. Then we have is date time, which stores the date and time. Again, the format for date and time is year, month, day, then hours, minute, and then second. Then we have is time data type, where we can store the hours, minute, and second. And at the last we have is decimal data type. So when I say decimal, 5,2 is a number that has 3 digits before decimal and 2 digits after the decimal. That's all about the SQL data type. Next, we'll look into some of the terminologies of SQL. The table, in SQL term, in a formal term, we say it as relation. Column header is said as attribute. All possible column values is said as domain. All the rows are called as tuple. Table definition is called as schema of relation. And the populate data is called as state of the relation or a database state. So this is a sample table where this is called as a table name. In formal term, it is called as relation. The table name is called as relation. So all the column headers like name, SSN, home, phone, address, office phone, age, GPA, all these called as attributes. All the column headers are called as attributes, and all the rows are called as tuples. This is called as schema diagram. Schema diagram is nothing but the logical structure of a database. Here we consist of 6 tables, and in each table all the attributes are represented. So the attributes of employee are first name, middle initial, last name, SSN, birth date, address, sex, salary, super SSN, and department number. The attribute which is underlined, it is called as key attribute. So the key attribute are those attributes which uniquely identifies a particular employee. So the value of this key attribute should be always unique. Yeah. So this is nothing but the database state. It is a logical representation of how the data is stored in the database. So each relation, there is a separate relation. There is employee relation and the data, department location, works on, project, and dependent. and the attribute is which is underlined, it is called as a key attribute, which should be always unique. In department number we have D number, and department locations we have department number and department location. In a project we have project number and in dependent we have ESSN and dependent name, and in works on we have ESSN and project number as a key attribute. Let us begin with the data definition language. So DDL statements are used to define the structure of database. So it is used to create schema, tables, indices and constraints in the database. So some of the DDL statements are create. The create command is used to create the table, and it is also to create the database. And alter, it is used to alter the structure of the database. And the drop is used to drop or delete the table from the database. Let us begin with create table. This is a syntax of create table. Create table, table name, starting with the column name, and then the data size, data type, and then the size. Here's the example: create table, my tab. My tab is nothing but the user defined table name, starting with the column name, and then the data type, and then we have a size. So roll number, int, and the size 4. Address, varchar 100. So this is an example of a my tab relation. So where there are 3 columns. So we can also impose a constraint on these attributes or these column names. So the constraints are, we can have name varchar 30 not null, which means this particular attribute cannot have a null values. And we can also impose constraints like we can also specify primary key for the roll number. So which means the roll number should be always unique. It cannot have a duplicate values. So these are the constraints that can be implemented on columns. Let us consider this example on create table. I want to create a table called as employees with the 4 attributes, that is employee ID, first name, last name and salary. So the command is create table employees, employee ID, then the data type int, size 10, not null. Not null is a constraint on employee ID. So this particular field cannot be null. The next attribute is first name, varchar 20. The third attribute is last name, varchar 20, not null. So this particular field cannot be null. And then the 4th attribute is salary, int 10, not null. Even the salary field cannot be null. And we have specified employee ID as a primary key. The employee ID should always be unique. It cannot have a duplicate values. So each employees can be identified by using the employee ID. So let us understand about primary key and foreign key. Primary key is a field in a table which uniquely identifies each row in a database table. Primary keys must contain unique values. If I consider an example of a student table, the USN is considered as a primary key. So we are not considering name as a primary key because there might be n number of students with the same name, but the 2 students cannot have a same USN number. So for the student table, USN is a primary key. So primary key column cannot have null values. So this is an example where to define USN as a primary key. Then we have is foreign key. A foreign key is an attribute or a set of attribute that references the primary key of same table or another table. So this is an example. Foreign key, doctor ID references doctor ID of other table called as doctor. Okay, let us understand in the next slide. Let us consider these 2 tables, desert and customer. Desert has 2 attributes, that is ID and name. And the customer has 4 attributes, that is customer ID, first name, last name and favorite desert. In desert table, desert ID is considered as the primary key, and in customer table, customer ID is considered as a primary key. Now, let us look into this. Favorite desert. The favorite desert is considered as a foreign key. The foreign key of one column refers to the primary key of an other table. Okay, so this is how we just implement the desert, create table desert, ID varchar 10 and the name varchar 20, and then we have his primary key ID. This is how we make ID as a primary key. The next is create table customer, create table varchar, and this is a one more way of specifying this ID as a primary key. The one way is we can make it separate definition, that is primary key ID, or at the declaration of ID itself we can specify primary key. Then we have his first name varchar and the last name varchar and favorite desert as varchar. Now this is how we specify the foreign key. Foreign key favorite desert references desert ID. References desert ID of an other table. So this is a difference between primary key and a foreign key. The primary key is a unique, it is always unique. So a table can have only one primary key, whereas foreign key, it's a foreign key of a particular table refers the primary key of another table. Now all the data in a favorite desert or data in a foreign key refers the data in a primary key of other table, primary key of desert ID. Now if I try to insert some other value like B050, so in that case the DBMS will throw an error, that is violation of referential integrity constraint. So this is one of the major advantages of primary key and foreign key. This is one more example of primary key and foreign key, where we have a patient table and a doctor table. The attributes of a patient table is patient ID, name, date of birth, gender, phone and doctor ID. The attributes of doctor table is doctor ID, doctor and room. In a patient table, we have patient ID is a primary key, and in a doctor table, doctor ID is a primary key. And in patient table, this doctor ID is considered as a foreign key. So the values in a foreign key refers the primary key of other table. You can see here the values of this foreign key is referred from the primary key of a doctor table. Now if I try to insert some any value like 10, doctor ID 10, in that case the DBMS will check whether there is a doctor ID, doctor with the ID 10. Yes, there is no, in this case there is no doctor ID with the 10. So the DBMS will throw an error that is called as violation of referential integrity. So in this way we can maintain the integrity constraints of each attribute. Let us understand about alter command. Alter command is an DDL statement which is used to modify the structure of database. The alter command can add new column to the table, drop the existing column in the table, modify the column and rename the column. Let us look into the syntax of alter command. Now let us see how can we add the columns. Syntax for adding the column. Alter table, table name, add new column and then the column definitions. So new column and the column definition, that is nothing but the data type and the size, and then whether I want to add it in the first column or after a particular attribute. So this is the syntax of add column. Drop column. Alter table, table name, drop column, column name. So this is the syntax for deleting a column in a table. Now let's see how can we rename the column. The syntax for renaming the column is alter table, table name, change column, original name and then the new name and then the data type, column definition. Okay. Then this first is, suppose if you want to add it at the first column, or suppose if I want to add it to the after a particular column, I can make use of this first and after keyword. First, this is optional. By default, the column will be added at the end. Now suppose if I want to modify the data type or the column definition, I can make use of the modified command. Alter table, table name, modify, column name, column definition, and these are the optional keywords, that is first and after column. Let us go through alter add command. Let's say this is an employee table where I want to add one more column called as date of birth. I want to add one more column called as date of birth. See this, alter table employee, add date of birth, date. This is a column definition. Okay. Date is a column definition. Now after adding it, so the database looks like this. Next, now suppose if I want to remove this column, I want to drop this particular column from a database, from a table. So I can make use of drop command, alter table employee, drop column date of birth. Then the database will look like this. So that date of birth column will be deleted. SQL drop table. Now let's say this is a customer table. So describe customer. Describe means it will describe the structure of a table, customer table, which it specifies the attributes, the customer ID, name, age, address and salary, and the data type, and the constraints, null values or not, and then the primary key and the default values. All the entire structure of the customer table will be displayed. Now let us see how can we drop this customer table. So using drop table customers, I can delete this customers table. Now suppose if I try to use describe command for this customers, the compiler will throw an error. The database management system will throw an error telling that the customers doesn't exist. So this is how we can even delete a particular table or drop a table from the database. Let's understand about data manipulation language, DML statements. The DDL statements concentrate on the structure of a database, whereas DML statements are used to manipulate the data in the database. Like we have some DML statements are insert, update and delete. Insert is used to insert the data in the table. Update is used to update existing data within a table, and delete is used to delete records from a database table. Let us understand about insert command. Insert command is used to insert the data into the database. So this is an insert command syntax. Insert into table name, values, and then the values. So this type of syntax is used to add the values to all the attributes of table. Now suppose if I want to add the values for a selected attributes, so in that case I can make use of this syntax, that is insert into table name and then the selected attributes, values, then the values. Example, insert into employee, values, here are the values. Now again, when you insert the data, the integer data shouldn't be in a single quote, rest all the varchar or character or date should be in a single quote. So this is an example where we insert the data into all the attributes of employee table. Now suppose if I want to add values to a selected attributes of employee table, in that case I can make use of this command. You can see here, insert into employee, and here I am adding the values only to the selected attributes, first name, last name, department number and SSN. Look at this, these are the values adding to a particular selected attributes. Let us understand some more examples of insert command. So this is an employee table where we have 4 attributes: employee ID, first name, last name and the salary. This is the insert command here. Insert into employees and then the attribute name, values and the values. So this is how, after inserting all this data, this is how the database looks like. Let us understand about update command. The update statement is used to update existing records in a table. The syntax of update command is update. In update clause, we need to specify the table name. In set clause, we need to specify the modifications or any updation of a column values. And whereas in where clause, we specify the condition. Let us consider a simple example of an employee table. Update the last name of EAD 101 to Cohen. So first thing is update employee. set, what changes we need to make? We need to change the last name to Cohen. So I need to change this king to Cohen. So which means set last name is equal to Cohen, and then where employee ID is equal to 101. So this is a condition. So this is a modification. Set clause is to specify the modification. So update employees, set last name. Set last name is equal to Cohen. Now which row? Employee ID is equal to 101. So of this row I will be modifying this king as Cohen. So after the updation, the database looks like this, where it has been modified. Let us understand about delete command. The delete statement is used to delete an existing record in a table. So this is a syntax: delete from table name where condition. So delete is a keyword, again from is a keyword, table name of a table, where in a where clause we need to specify the condition. So where condition, add condition according to which data will be deleted. At the end, we specify the same. Delete from employee where last name is equal to Brown. So this particular row of an employee will be deleted where the last name is equal to Brown. Delete from employee where SSN is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So a row will be deleted whose SSN is this. Delete from employee where department number is equal to 5. So it will delete all the employees who belongs to department number 5. And then this delete from employee deletes all the tuples or rows of a table employee. Let us understand about select statement. The select statement is used to select the data from a database. So the syntax of a select statement is, in a select clause we specify the columns of which column where we want to retrieve the data. In a from clause specify the table name, and in the where clause specify the condition. This pictorial representation gives a complete detailed picture. Select column 1, column 2. It's about the columns to display. From table means the table which we use, where the condition. So only written rows matching this condition. So we need to specify the condition. Let us consider this. If I want to retrieve all the rows of customers, then the query which I need to use is select star. Select star means the select clause I need to specify the column. So star means all the columns from customers. So which means it will display all the rows of a table customers. The next we have is employee table. Let us consider a different example. We have an employee table. We have ID, first name, last name, father name, city, country and phone number. Now the question is, select the first name, father name, city and phone number from employee table. So in that case, just use select first name, father name, city and phone from the customer. So which means I'm not retrieving all the attributes. I am retrieving only the specified 4 attributes. So this could be done by a select statement, and in a from clause we specify the table name. So here we don't have any condition. So we have not specified the where clause. Let us look into one more example. Let us look into this employee table, where I want to retrieve this particular row. I want to retrieve the first row. So if I want to retrieve the first row, select star. Select star means it will retrieve all the attributes of employee table. In a from clause, I need to specify the table name. So from employees. In a where clause, I need to specify the condition. So the condition is employee ID is equal to 101. So this is the output. Let us understand about aggregate functions in SQL. So there are 5 aggregate functions: average, count, maximum, minimum and sum. Average returns the average value from specified columns. Now suppose if you want to retrieve the average salary of all the employees, so in that case I can make use of average command within the bracket salary from employees. Next is count functions. So this count function is used to calculate the number of rows in a particular table. So select count from employees retrieves the number of rows in a particular employee table. Max returns the largest value among the records. Now suppose if I want to retrieve the maximum salary of an employee, in that case I can make use of max function. Minimum returns smallest value among the records. Now suppose if I want to retrieve the minimum salary in an employee table, so I can make use of minimum function. Sum returns the sum of specified columns. Now if I want to retrieve the sum of all the employees, sum of salaries of all the employees, in that case I can make use of sum function. Let us understand the simple query. Retrieve the complete information of customers whose salary is greater than 5,000. So this is the customer database. Here I need to retrieve the rows whose salary is greater than 5,000. So I can retrieve this row and this row. So the expected output is this. So now how to write a query? So we have three clauses, that is select from where. In select clause we specify all the attributes of customer. So that is select star. Now in a from clause we specify the customer, we specify the table name, that is customers. So from customers. Now in a where clause we need to specify the condition. The condition is salary is greater than 5,000. Yes. So where salary is greater than 5,000. So I will get this result. Let us consider one more example. Retrieve the complete details of customer whose age is greater than 25 and salary greater than 6,500. So here we have multiple condition. So the multiple condition is specified in a where clause. So first let us retrieve all the attributes of customers, that is select star. From which table? From customers table. Now what is the condition? In a where clause we specify the condition. The condition is age should be greater than 25 and salary should be greater than 6,500. So in a where clause age is greater than is equal to 25 and salary is greater than is equal to 6,500. Retrieve the details of customers who belong to age 25 and 27. Again select clause, we select all the attributes, that is select star, and from which table? From customers table, where age in 25, 27. So this is one more way of writing query using in. Let us consider a query on company database. The query is about retrieve the birth date and address of the employees whose name is John B. Smith. Now, in a select clause, what we need to specify is they have mentioned it as birth date and address. So select birth date and address. Select birth date and address. Now from which table? From employee table. From employee table. Now next is what is the condition? Whose name is John B. Smith. So first name should be John, middle initial should be B, and the last name should be Smith. So that three condition I can specify in a where clause. So where first name is equal to John and middle initial is equal to B and last name is equal to Smith. Let us consider this simple query. Retrieve the name and address of all employees who work for the research department. The name and address is in employee table. The research department is in department table. Now in the select clause we need to specify the name and address, that is first name, middle initial, last name and the address. Yes. Now in from clause, how many tables? In the from clause we need to specify employee and department table. Yes. From employee department. In the where clause the condition is whenever we use two tables we need to join these two tables. So the join condition is department and this D number. So these two attributes are common in these two tables. So and then also the department name should be research. So in the where clause, department name is equal to research and D number is equal to D number. Where department name is equal to research and D number is equal to D number. So whenever we use more than one table, we need to specify the join condition. So this is a simple query. Yes, let us look into the substring pattern matching. Like operator is used for string pattern matching. Partial strings are specified using two reserved characters. Modulus operator that matches 0 or more character. Underscore replaces a single character. Let us understand this by a simple example. Let us look at this. Where salary like 200 and then the modulus operator. Modulus operator means it matches 0 or more characters. Yes. What it does is finds any value that start with 200. Let us consider this one more. Where salary like modulus 200 modulus operator. So in this case, there might be 0 or more characters beginning 0, beginning 2 and 0 or more characters at the end of 200, which means finds any values that have 200 in any position. Let us consider this third example where salary like underscore 00 modulus operator finds any values that have 00 in the second and third position. Where salary like 2 underscore means it matches, you can see as replaces a single character. Underscore replaces a single character. There should be a single character of 2 and then 0 or more characters at the third position. Not only third position and after that underscore, which means there should be compulsorily 3 characters. So find any value that start with 2 and at least 3 characters in length. Where salary like percentage 2, which means the salary which ends by 2. So find any values that end with 2. Where salary like underscore 2 modulus 3. So the matching for this salary is finds any value that have a 2 in the second position and end with a 3. So 2 in the second position and ends with a 3. So let us look into the last comparison where salary like 2 underscore 3, which means it starts by 2 and you have a 5 digit. This is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 digits. It should have a 5 digits and that which started by 2 and ends with 3. So these are the examples of the substring pattern matching by using modulus operator and underscore. Let us retrieve the details of customers whose name begins with KO. Now I need to retrieve the customer details whose name begins with KO. But this is the only row I need to retrieve. Let us see how can I do that. Retrieve the details, which means I need to retrieve all the columns of the attribute, that is select star. Yes. In a from table, I need to mention the table, that is customers, from customers. Yes. Now where name like I need to specify the starting two words, that is KO. So where name like KO, and this modulus operator means it matches any 0 or more characters. So which means the 2 letters starts with KO is with the customer ID 6. So this will be retrieved. The very important thing is you need to know that this modulus operator means it matches 0 or more characters, whereas underscore it matches only a single character. Okay. Let us consider this simple query now. Retrieve all employees details whose address is in Houston. Look at the Houston here. So at the beginning of the Houston we have a number of characters, and after Houston we have some characters. So to match it, we will be using this Houston modulus operator, Houston modulus operator. So wherever there is Houston in the address, so that particular row will be selected. So these two, the first and second row will be selected. So that is retrieve all employees, but here we will be retrieving first name and the last name from employee table where address like percentage Houston, modulus operator Houston modulus. And then we have is find all employees who were born during 1950s. Now we should make sure that the format of the date is first comes the year, then month, and then day. So in order to, if you want to be 1950s, the third characters 1950s, the third digit should be 5. So you can see here the third digit is 5, and we have 2 underscore prior to 5, and we have almost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 underscore after 5. Let us look into this one more query. Retrieve all employees in department whose salary is between 30,000 and 40,000. So now the first thing is retrieve all employees. So you can make it use select star from which table? Yeah, retrieve all employees in the department 5. Yeah, well, the department 5 means I can find the department number over here whose salary is in 30,000. The salary it's over here. So I can just make use of this employee table. So from employee, the condition is department number is equal to 5 and the salary should be between 30,000 and 40,000. So the where condition is salary between 30 and 40,000 and department number is equal to 5. So this is a simple query. Update the first name of SSN 333445555 to Obama. So first, according to the syntax of update, we need to specify update table name. So update employee, set F name is equal to Obama. So set F name is equal to Obama, where condition is SSN is equal to this SSN, social security number. This is how we need to specify the query, update query for this particular problem. This is one more example. Query on employee table. Find the sum of the salaries of all employees, the maximum salary, the minimum salary, and the average salary. Here we have to use aggregate functions to aggregate functions to identify the sum of the salaries. Sum within the bracket we need to mention the attribute salary, and to find the maximum salary we have the aggregate function called as max, and to identify the minimum salary we have aggregate function called as min, and to identify the average salary we have an aggregate function called as avg. So select will have sum, max, minimum, and average. Select sum salary, maximum salary, minimum salary, and average salary. Next is from clause. From clause from which table? Employee table. So what is the conditions? No, we don't have any conditions here. So that's it. So we don't have, we'll be not using where condition. That's it. Thank you for watching this video.